Hey, Dr. Ford.
Hey there, how are you?
I'm excellent. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I can't complain. Happy Sunday to you.
The same to you. How was your day?
Yeah, my day was great. Very productive. Got some things done. And it was sunny out here in the area. So thankful that it was sunny here. The snow melted a little bit, but it was definitely a home day, a chill day. Um, had a book reading earlier today, and now I'm here. So it's been excellent. How about
Oh,
yourself?
well, we're still like having that Arctic blast because it rose up a little bit as far as temperature wise, but overnight it got down to 15 degrees again. It got up to as high as 20, but then let's say the latter part of the afternoon, it actually it got up to like 27. So it's I guess it's okay because you're right. The sun was shining, but that's the sun was lying.
I was gonna say it sounds like you needed some wood over there and some damn blankets and all types of
Yes,
stuff to keep warm.
exactly. So sun was lying, but hey, it's okay. Just one of those days because February is normally the coldest month in Georgia, and so the last 3 months, well, not the last 3 months, but the last 3 weeks, it's actually gotten, it's been worse than normal. So I'm just hoping February is not as bad as January.
Oh, oh, we're gonna keep y'all in prayer down there. I didn't honestly, I
Uh,
forget how you guys are not too far away from the Atlantic. So it's like y'all still get some of that air and that wind and some of that weather coming from off of the sea. So and then also coming up down from the north, I'm sure. But I
yeah.
often forget about y'all getting some bad weather down there. All I hear about is how bad the traffic is in Georgia.
Well, now South Georgia is actually a whole lot worse. Like if you run the Savannah area and so forth, it's actually a little bit worse than up here because they are more so on the Atlantic because that's where the water is. Being here in Atlanta, there's no water. You got to travel at least 5 or 6 hours to get to a beach or some water. So that's a little different. But yeah, that thing is coming from up this way and just then came down here, and it's like it's a mainstay for these last few weeks.
Yeah, yeah, because we have some cold weather here in DC area, so I'm sure you guys are getting that cold front coming up from north. So
Yeah.
yeah, we had got some snow, and to be honest, a lot of people are like, I hate the snow around here, and I'm like, y'all, I'm from the Midwest. It actually is nostalgic for me, but I will say, it's been cold as shit, and I
Yeah.
kind of been like, oh.
Okay. Hello, Amen.
Hey y'all. I don't know why my logo's backwards, but
Good
it's
evening, good evening.
cute.
That's a cool logo.
Thank you. Thank you. It's supposed to be like the other way around. But yeah, it's like Amen in the middle and then golden is like capital letter G.
Okay.
I'm gonna get that too. I'm gonna get a necklace one day.
So, so
We like you.
how
We like
did dinner turn out?
Good. I've been needing a good meal. The woes of living can sometimes be a little heavy, so I know a good meal can change my mood. So I had a good meal, and I'm happy to be talking to y'all, two black kings. Doctor, I missed your healing circle.
Yes, yes, it was phenomenal. But you feel free to join here on Tuesday, and then of course we're doing it every week for 5 more weeks now, and feel free to join that one. Yes, we learned a lot. We learned about self love, y'all. Really just helping people build their self esteem. One of the things we talked about was you have to have self worth, self esteem, build your self esteem up in order to have self confidence.
Mhm.
Because I think some people get it confused on what self-worth is and what self-confidence is. But the beauty behind the conversation was just like starting at home.
Mm-hmm.
And so helping people get the skills that they need to, just helps view themselves differently.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a lot of intense questioning, but very good, fruitful conversations and facilitated a lot of healing. I think it's very powerful when you know that you're not alone going through this journey of healing, right? So
Yeah,
the community was super important.
that's good. Shout out to you. I'm proud of you, man.
Hey, we had a good turnout. It's like church. Go ahead and bring your friend. Come on,
I know that's
so
I know
whenever
that's
you decide to pop in, feel free to bring someone. It's super dope just to have a space where people can come in, truly honor each other, learn how to heal.
typhoid. I gotta look you up right now because I thought I was going to find you, but let me find you now.
Yeah, and I'll put it. I think I could write in the chat.
You can. Hey, well, I wanted to tell you that's one thing. I'm sure you're talking about your event, right?
Yes, I'll actually share it in the chat. I didn't know I could do this last time.
Is it still up for viewing?
Oh yes, yes, that is something I have not you'll have to join the Facebook group and it will be in the Facebook group posted in there. So I'll
Okay.
share that
Wait a
in
minute.
the
Yeah,
chat
because
too.
I want what's the name of the group because I definitely got to join and I didn't get the chance to actually go back and view it, and that was one of the things I was going to ask you about. Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
So that's the group. Once you add in there, um, you'll start seeing some of the updates in the post. And I will be honest, y'all, I'm doing so much better about keeping up with the tasks that I need to keep up with. This is all a learning experience for a lot of us, especially when it comes to this technology and keeping up. So, yes, you'll have access to the video, and then you'll also see that we have another event coming up on Tuesday.
On Tuesday. I'm
Share that with you
interested. I
guys
just
now.
found you on Facebook and interested. I can't click going, so I put interested.
Okay, cool. Let me see.
Oh, now I can click going. Okay, there we go. Cool.
Yes,
I
I can.
got you. You have a beautiful profile picture too. Come on, educated black man. Come on.
I gotta represent. I
Yeah,
gotta represent. The next Facebook link right here below is for the actual healing circle.
I got you. Boom. I'm still really excited that we're done with that book.
I actually thought it was really excellent. I'm super excited about this next book. I was able to
Yeah.
look up a little bit about the covenant. But have you guys heard? What have you heard about this new book?
Charles actually got me hip to it because he's a fan of the author, so it was actually one of his selections. So when we were talking about books, I was like, a little romance, a little something, something, a little splash of this, a little splash of that. And when I was looking at the author, the Covenant was like one of the ones that stood out to me. So I actually wanted to buy like the whole 3 book set. Yet we decided to go with Charles just because excuse me, we decided to go with James because in my mind, Charles is bigging James up. Like James is that man. Let me tell you about him. Nah, 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 nah. And here I'm reading it, just like, I'm excited to get into this next book though, for sure.
Yeah, he was one of those that that's in the LGBTQ culture that's actually written an enormous amount. That's written these books that he's written, but they've gotten these really good reviews.
Mm.
And so, just when we were like originally picking books and so forth, he was one that came up because 3 of his books was actually on the list that I jotted down as my 10. And he's got a lot of good drama that he writes about. And it's very relevant, as to what the culture is today. And so it's like when you just think about him, especially being a black artist, it's I don't know, it's just to go a little bit in depth into his world and see exactly where he's coming from.
I'm excited to see it and to read it. So yeah, I'm excited for yeah. Shout out to the
Yeah,
book. I'm
I
glad
just
I
read
got
the
it. But yeah.
I just read the description and it looks like he's looking to redeem himself or like discover who he is. Because it looks like he's pretty active, a student, a basketball player, and a boyfriend. But he's starting to feel these feelings coming up in his life. I guess just new discovery of himself. So I love self-discovery books. I felt like the last one was a self-discovery book, although it wasn't as much, the outcome wasn't as great as I would have liked it for David. You know, he did what he could do in what he had.
That's right. What Mariah Carey say? I'm gonna do the best I can with what I got. Okay, that was David. Okay. Yeah, but yeah, I'm super excited. It's good to check in with y'all.
Well, you know something. Um, Something else is, I think like when there's that off week of actually just not, where we're not actually doing the book, we know what the book is going to be. Um, I just think the off week like this, helps to just talk about whatever you want to just talk about. And so I want to tell you guys that um, I've actually delved into website building. And of some people, they say it's not a lot, but for me, it is because my brain is not really working that way. But I've actually learned so much about website building that, I actually did a site yesterday. I was going to do a site today, but the reason why I have not is because like we're on actually because I'm using my phone as a hotspot because Xfinity has just fucked up the cable. The internet, I mean. And so the internet has been down all day.
Mm.
All day.
How much you
So
paying for Xfinity?
I don't know, because we got that unlimited internet, so it just don't matter how much internet you use.
Mhm.
Oh, so do your bill fluctuate?
No.
Oh, shout out to you. Okay, last time I had cable, they told me my bill was gonna be this. The next month it was something else, and they said no. The next month it was something else, or something else, and
Baby,
only.
I ain't even had it since
Okay,
then.
okay. I'm telling you, you want to talk about a scam? You want to talk about a scam? Cable, they ought to be shamed. They ought to be- they ought
Every
to
month going up on something, and I'm like, I half the time I'm not even watching a lot of TV, so cable I find not very helpful. But that
I'm
internet,
really happy.
now I you do need that internet though.
Yeah.
So are they getting it together?
Okay. Well, see,
They
that's the
need
thing.
to
I
get it.
love. Go ahead.
No, I said they need to get it together.
Okay, I missed the wave of like seeing when Blockbuster had like went down because of Netflix, but I'm so happy that I'm aware and present to see the downfall of cable with these streaming services because them cable companies know they was wrong. So this is what they get. This is what greed gets you. Okay.
Well,
Um.
as you say that, we're actually going to get rid of the cable part and just keep the internet and just stream
Okay.
because we've
Child,
got.
you watch. Child.
Sound like y'all done caught up to the 21st century.
Hello.
I'm just
Okay.
playing.
Hey.
Because
Hello.
that's what everybody is doing. Everybody is internet and this streaming. That's pretty
Okay.
much whatever. I don't really come across a lot of people who are really heavily invested in cable nowadays. It's more so the streaming platforms. But it's so interesting to talk about that, right? Like just 20 years ago, I can remember myself just watching movies and cassette tapes. It's so
Mhm.
crazy. And
Mhm.
then to now have, platforms like Netflix and Amazon Prime,
Yeah,
it's great. It's such a shift.
it is.
So, what are your plans for this week?
To move at the end of this week and to get the book and to work out 5 days a week, twice a day, and to go record another song and work on my skin, hair, and A lot. So I got a lot this week. What about you, Ty?
You know, I loved everything that you said that you were doing. It sounds like you're doing a lot of self care, which is excellent. Um, yeah, I'm kind of with you, engaging in my self care. I am planning on moving, so I don't know where you're relocating to, but I am looking for um, a new home, which is exciting. And shit, working on business. I'm putting 10 toes down on business.
Let's go.
Okay.
Let's
Gotta
go to
just
10
put
toes.
myself out there. And for all the people who listen on the audience, like if you are just starting a new project or you're jumping into entrepreneurship, this shit is not easy. And coming from a healthcare provider, it's like you would think it's very easy to run your own practice and get patients in just because you're wonderful and fabulous, but it's not as easy as you would think. So it requires a lot of dedication and effort. So I'll be doing a lot of that this week.
That's true. I keep forgetting that there's like other people out there watching this. Uh, I want to like second big what you just said up because it's so important. I think I'm an entrepreneur myself, and it hasn't been like easy, and the weight of it sometimes weighs me down. So when I was talking about my week, I was just I say it with a heavy breath because I've been feeling heavy, and it's so important not to give up. And I think you have to have that fight and fire in you. And even when days that feel heavy, even when it feels like your little spark is on its last little leg, to keep going, because I promise it will come back like it ain't never leave left. And yeah, so thank you so much for saying that, Ata. I have to get myself together.
Well, look,
Absolutely.
hey, you say you got to work, you got to work because
Okay.
you know I'm actually trying to fit in an additional 5 hours for the day because 24 ain't enough.
It
You know,
ain't enough. It ain't never enough.
It
you
ain't
ain't never lied. You ain't never lied.
no,
You
man.
ain't.
So it's
What are
like,
you eating, Carlos?
huh?
What are you eating?
Oh,
I know
and,
that's I know that's right. A little snack.
and dip.
Okay. I know that's right.
Yeah. But yeah, and like I said, I was just, now I'm delving and trying to learn to build some of these websites is because, I've actually been given a little leeway to actually have my own platform to where now I'm going to be cloning all of my websites and I'm going to host them on my own platform. So I don't have to worry about paying that money for maintenance or anything else. Anytime I need to update, I just update. But the main thing about that is trying to get them all just on here and just work on them one at a time. And so once I'm able to just get them all done and so forth, I'm going to ask for my DNS, tell them DNS numbers. You can drop all those sites off your platform if you want to, because I don't need them anymore. You can drop them off. I have my own. I'll be able to plug all that in and have them all operational from my side, and I don't have to worry about all that. And so that's the one thing that I'll be working on next week. But also, I'm trying to establish some other things to incorporate. Maybe bringing some other guest people from the community. That want to just socially interact and just basically like put them in as a networking thing so people can get to know who they are and they talk about what they're doing. You know,
Did you say you was bringing some tall black men with a size 15 shoe to your show?
you want me to bring Kenyon back?
You got to cut it out. I mean, if he wants to
I was
come
gonna
back.
say this got juicy.
Okay, a little spicy, like spice it up if you want to. If you want, you know what, he gonna see this. Shout out to the brother. Shout out to him. Shout out to him. No, but Charles, you collect fine men like Infinity Stones. Okay, so every Sunday they can find me here at 5 o'clock. Okay, PST. Tell him
Well,
I
I
said
will tell you
hello.
this. um,
I need a
this Friday,
massage.
this
Not you
Friday.
trying to create a dating
You got a book club. You got
dating
a
That's
similar
one of the
platform.
things
services.
I think we should talk about, though, is relationships one of these times because, um, with it being what it is, maybe there's some things that we could all learn from each other. Especially for those that are single.
For
And
sure.
and it's some things like like let's just say even how you doing your healing process, Dr. Ford. See that plays a part into that as well because it's all about the mental.
Mm-hmm.
You
I
know,
agree.
Everybody
We
need
can
a
talk
good
about that
healing.
now because I feel like a conversation about relationships is very appropriate, especially after reading Giovanni's
Giovanni's
room.
room. After reading
Absolutely.
Giovanni's room,
Because those relationships were very interesting and it had very different relationships. So, just the dynamics from, him being with his Helen, being with Giovanni, that right there was just a hot mess. you know.
Okay. At least he was getting a piece of something. I ain't get a piece of nothing. Okay. It's been a long.
So is that what you go into relationships for? It's a piece of something for a piece of
No, you
something?
know what? No, 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 no. I mean, it's important, but no, no. No, it's just something that I know that now I know what it's like to, I know what a healthy relationship should feel like and be like because I took a lot of time to unlearn a lot of bad things about myself. So I'm excited for that next step. And in the midst of me learning all this, it's been like a long time. So I mean, it's just like, you know, what about my back? Who's going?
Paint a picture for us. What does a healthy relationship look like? The crowd is listening. They're ready.
Oh,
They ready to
it's
hear
true.
it. Lay it on us.
You know what? I think a healthy relationship is, for me, just a healthy, having a healthy conversation, being able to be friends with the man, and being able to have like healthy conversations, and just to be able to like hear him, and versus just have him there, being able to hear and understand, and for to know that like on days I'm gonna look rough, I'm not gonna have haircuts, I'm not gonna have like I might not cook, but then me being me is enough. So I don't know. You see, I'm still single, doctor. Okay, Charles. Charles, the one that's married.
This was no shade. I wasn't trying to come down
It's
and be
shade. It's
like,
Sunday.
but
It's a
you
little
was not.
shady. I'm
Nah,
joking.
nah. We was just talking about the sunlight earlier, but but no.
I really
I
don't
was
know.
just
I guess I
curious
know
to
when I
know
know.
because when people say, "Oh," when people are expecting healthy relationships or looking for or seeking healthy relationships, they often don't know what that looks like, and it's like, so what do you have to work with? Um, I would
Mm.
say if people are curious about where to start, and Charles, you can chime in on this part, but like if you're curious about where you start, just start with how you want a person to make you feel. I think that is a good position to start.
but I think one thing though that Amen brought up that I think is really key is having those conversations, being able to communicate, and just knowing that like he say, look, well, I haven't got my hair cut yet, so now you see my hair all willy nilly, and you wake up in the morning, you do what you do, but still, it's like, oh, that's okay, you can laugh and talk about that, but if you're not having those moments to where he is your best friend, you know, and you get to learn each other where you are best friends, then you might just want to be making sure that you're like thinking about that, because I'll tell you, um, we're good friends and we're like best friends, because 26 years is a long goddamn time,
Mhm.
especially when you're talking about in our community. But my thing is I want to try to transcend that, because I want people in our community to stop thinking that your relationship has got to be like this man and woman when they get married. No, sir.
Mhm.
No, sir. They're definitely
Mhm.
not a role model. They're not even an example, because the drama they bring is that kind of drama that you see where they're killing each other. You know, kill
Oh my
her,
god.
she kill him.
Oh my
And
god.
so it's kind of like, and so I'll just tell you guys this because again, it's, you talk about some things, but I had a wife before I married my husband.
Mhm.
We were married for 8 years, and she kind of like she got on my nerves.
What's her
And
name, Miss Netta?
well, I'm not saying she got on my nerves. I mean, like, no, not to the point that I want to just bash her over the head and kill her. But I was trying to get away. So I told her, I said, look, I want you to know something. I mean, we do what we do, but I also like men. That heifer did not like that. She made me wait a whole year before she divorced me.
Did she say, Charles, your lunch is ready?
Tell me something, you lying.
You lying?
No,
What?
yes.
People be in their own world,
I
and
had girls who wanted to like, you know, give me the kitty cat just to see if they can, because some girls will say like, well, you just haven't had the right cat, or you just need to sleep with some good cat, some good meow, and then you'll be walking like, I'll be a straight man. But I'm kind of grateful that I haven't had that experience that you had, Charles, because I used to feel guilty about the girls that I would date for like 2 days or a week at most, because I'm like, I'm wasting their time. So to be married,
Well, I'll tell you this. See, in my day, it was called bisexuality. Today they call it something else. I don't know what they call it today, but it's a different term. But so it was called bisexuality. And so when I was in high school, I was like, oh, I was living my best life. I had the best of both worlds. Look, I'm an athlete, so everybody just throwing it at you. And so it's like, as they're throwing it at you, you just having fun, but you ain't committed to nobody. But you see, after you don't live that life for so long, so as they say, a man's mind frame does not change until he's 30. When you get when you turn 30, you basically start seeing things a whole lot different. But when you get on that other side of 30, you see it all. So now it's like if you're doing something right or if you're doing something wrong. And the thing is, how do you hold yourself accountable? Because if you've been wilding all this time, you ain't been committed all this time. When you when you decide that you do want to get committed, then it's like the relationship could be all good, it could be bad and good. But if you're not used to that and you're just used to having it your way, that is going to be a hard adjustment, but you've got to be able to hold yourself accountable. Men are totally different from women for real, because our thinking comes from this side, her thinking comes from this side. And so when she try to mix that to you, and you kind of looking like, well, that don't make sense. Just like when you throw yours at her, and she's like, that's stupid. Where's the compromise in trying to understand and learn?
Oh, you said compromise. That made my shoulders go up because I don't never like to compromise. I'm just not a type of person that just compromises. Now, what I will say, I'm willing to negotiate. I like to negotiation. To me, it's like still allowing me to have the power to say yes or no. Compromising makes me feel like I'm giving up something that I don't want to give. So I don't like to be in that energy. I like to be like, I'm gonna negotiate because I'm gonna meet you in the middle of where I feel comfortable, and I can say this is where the line is drawn. So I think it's important to know, like, be true to yourself, in a relationship, knowing, like, having that foundation and knowing, being true to yourself, because when you're true to yourself, then you can start communicating very well, right? Like, you'll let people know exactly how you feel. You'll let people know if you're offended by something. You can be very steadfast and like what is sure about yourself. Often people get into relationships trying to discover themselves and trying to find themselves in other people when you really should just start at home. There was a point that I was brought up, but I can't remember right now, but the spirit was put on my heart to ask. I think it was Amen about. Oh, when you get into this space where people is like, they want to throw things at you, because y'all said throw things at you. I feel like those those methods never work because first of all, it's coming from the wrong place. It's like people are trying to like change you or convert you only for their own vanity or their own like for their ego, like they want to prove something to themselves. It's never really to like change, like to help improve you or like introduce you to something that you may actually enjoy. It's like they may enjoy it, but like what after? What else is after that? Like, because some people, plenty of women try to come at me and just be like, "Hey, da da da, I can make you," and I'm like, but then if I end up liking it, it's like, well, what's after that? Like, you gonna be around? And people are sometimes so vain in how they present themselves or so ego driven that they'll want to do something just to prove a point, but they really are not doing it for the sake of the person and healing the person. The last point that I wanted to make was when it comes to partnership, what I'm learning is with partnership, you have to be in a space of self acceptance because your partner should be almost in a reflection or a mirror of you. And Charles, you can most likely attest to this where your partner actually takes you through your shadow work, like all your bullshit. And then stuff starts to come up and your partner is supposed to help you on this journey to help you heal those areas in your life where you feel vulnerable, you feel like you haven't had the capacity or the space to be free to explore those things and then help you through that process, still maintaining your empowerment and your dignity and and encouraging you as a person. So I really wanted to just throw that out there, but I feel like those are essential elements of relationship partnership.
You know, I think those are really good things that you brought up. But so it's like, um, as we sit here and we talk now, I mean, my thing is that and I guess for some people they may think it's a little bit much, but I really do wish that we were at that point or at some point here in this year, even as soon as possible, that the two of you can actually find that person that really is fine-tuned to you guys. But I'm going to tell you, unless you take the chance, because nothing's perfect. Remember that nothing's perfect. But you also, I know you don't want somebody that's going to bring a whole bunch of baggage or a whole bunch of shit to your life that you may find it to be stressing. But some guys are a little bit edgy, and so you guys might not be edgy, but you got some guys that are just edgy. So like, in other words, I'm gonna give you an example. So like, with me being a big sports person and pretty much sometimes just living on my laurels, and sometimes I just kind of like just be like, I'll say fuck it sometimes and just do something just because. But because I do that, that's not the same as my husband.
Mm.
You see how you guys are kind of like reserved and laid back? That's kind of like how he is. So anything I do or any move I make, I'm always considering what's that going to look like, because I don't need no repercussions. And besides, like right now, as old as I am, me and drama don't play. So we ain't doing that shit. So what I'm saying is, it's like when you were talking about earlier about somebody being able to call you out on whatever you do. So I know if I done went close to the line and it's like something that's not liked. So when he called me on that and say, "Oh no, that was fucked up. I don't like that," and that did this happen? Could this have happened? What's really going on? You understand what I'm saying? So it's like it's at that point you got to sit down. You got to have that conversation because it's like you went close to the line, but for me that's laughter. It's laughter. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I don't go over the line, but just knowing that, okay, well, you still see that. I mean, that's fine. But you know, going up to that line sometimes, you know, can be a trigger that can actually make some other things happen.
Mm.
You know, but you just have to be ready
Absolutely.
for that. You got to be ready for that because you know, if you're two of the same, then I'm not sure how that works.
Hmm.
I'm really
Yeah.
not. I'm not
It
sure
was
how
this
that.
guy at Walmart. It was this guy at Walmart. He had hit on me, and I was just in the mind space that I was. I guess I didn't give. I just thought I wasn't in a place to give like him a chance in a way, and that I wasn't like qualified to be talking to him. And I guess what I'm receiving from you is like maybe I should just like, because I mean I still got to live and develop my life, and I'm still going to be doing that in the midst of.
Mhm.
And I can also, it's not like I'm jumping into marriage. It's like I could jump into getting to know who this man is. So
Exactly.
the next man or thug at Walmart who says hello, I'm gonna say hello. Okay.
You funny as shit.
Okay.
Well, hold up. First of all, 'cause when I was thinking, I was like, okay, so I think you raised a really good point. Y'all have really great point. So I wanted to tap on the notion of having a qualification. What is that qualification? Because if you have a preconceived qualification, that may really reduce your chances, well, limit your possibilities on who you could be partnered with. So
Yeah.
that's one. But
I was
then
thinking about
also,
my qualifications. Like, if am I qualified? Because I don't know nobody else's business. I think the only thing that I think that I'm kind of like settled on with like saying like that he can't do this thing, and this can change. This can change, but because I'm fresh in my sobriety, I don't want to be with a man who drinks or smoke. Just because I don't want that like so I don't know if that will change, but like right now that's like the only thing that I'm gonna like stand firm in. It's like he
yeah,
can't drink or smoke just because I don't want to end up like before we like do our little thing, he drink or he smokes, and I'm like, nigga, you don't want me like sober type shit. So
I,
I know
I,
my mom. I don't know. I think that might be a childish thing to think, but I think I exist. Like I'm sober and I'm like attracted to men soberly, so I will want the same in that regard.
that's where you need to keep your focus on. It's like, keeping your focus on what you want and what you desire and whatever aligns with that. Because, what my question to anyone who is thinking these thoughts of like, am I qualified? It's like, by whose standards? Like,
Mm.
who is making the standards? Because if you're making qualifications on what this man may be thinking, you don't really know what's in his mind. You don't know what he's thinking. You may actually be underqualifying yourself because you're trying to make up something in somebody else's mind, which is really absurd, and it really drives people crazy, really have them in a mentally messed up place. But if you make your own standards and you say, hey, this is what I want, I don't want I want someone who is on the sobriety track, or I want someone who doesn't engage in these behaviors, that's what I'm standing firm on, that's what I believe, then you will attract people like that as long as you stay there. Not to say that people may come your way, but it's like, and you value yourself that this is what works best for you. And so you should stay steadfast in that. And that's by your standards,
Mm.
not by anybody else's.
You better talk to me, doctor.
I wish I.
And if he wears size 18, I wouldn't be mad at it.
Partnership is like really interesting. And while I'm not married per se, I'm learning a lot about partnership. And you do have to be open minded, and you do have to, like, I will always repeat, like, you have to have this self acceptance. And me, I find that people it just was a realization that popped in my head. It's like, why do people get to that threshold that Charles was talking about, like where they'll push the line?
Mm.
And a lot of the times they get there because sometimes they're hurt, or they do want to see a response, or they want to make a point. But my question is, when you get to that line, what happens then? Because if you get to the line and you're not able to help your partner get through and see through it, and help them through that, that where you triggered them and help them heal through that process, then you got a lot of work to do. There's no sense in trying to push a person to the edge and not know how to bring them back and to heal themselves and make them feel better about themselves.
You're actually right. Because I mean, my thing was it wasn't to do anything, but it was to like, I just wanted to get a response. And so I got the response. So in the process of getting the response, again, what it was a learning moment, I think, for both of us, but it was just that thing of, okay, I just did that just to do it. But like you just said, Dr. Ford, is why? And there's no answer, there's no rhyme or reason. I just did it because that's just what I do. And so if you know me, then you know that I'm not going over the line. So there had to be a reason. And so that's just my thing. It's like, it's kind of like how you get people now saying they want to do stuff to spice up their relationship where they bring in other people and shit like that. See, I ain't with that. I ain't with that. Because see, again, that's that drama. I'm too old for drama. Because it's like something like that, it's like, no, I'm gonna get crazy. I'll just put it like that. I'm gonna get crazy because I'm like, no, we ain't doing that. But some people say, hey, well, it's like now, that is the thing to do. People are doing that like it's nothing. So, for me, relationships are sacred. And that's a sacred thing to me. So if it's sacred to me, I wouldn't dare push that kind of envelope. I wouldn't even dare write that up in no shape, form, or fashion to say, let's think about this. Because if you start thinking about how these people doing now with all these third parties and people that they bringing in, it's bringing in all kind of drama. You don't even know what that baggage is that you're bringing in. And so when it gets there, it makes everything toxic. So who wants to be around toxicity? I don't know too many people that want to be a part of that, especially in our community. No, we ain't got time for toxicity because, there's too much other shit, other kind of violence out there that's going on. And so you don't know what all these other things that you're bringing in. So just because you say, well, we're going to bring in Peter. Okay, you're going to bring Peter in. Peter done brought Jane, Mary, Jim, Ken, all that done came in. And you know it, you done lost your husband or your boyfriend. Damn. Because now you
someone wanted to do a threesome with me before, and I was just like, I was offended. I was like, am I not enough for you? Ciao. It is.
I see a lot of patients who come in and they tell me all types of stuff, y'all. They tell me they're monogamous and and then come to find out they come in to get screened for STIs. And I'm like, okay. But come to find out after some more inquiry, they're only monogamous, with each other in the United States. And when they go to Paris, it's like a different story. So it's like, there's many different, dynamics when we talk about polygamy and polygamous relationships. I do see there are some people they benefit, and I would say like in successful polygamous relationships, meaning that the people are actually enjoying each other and they're enjoying themselves fully and expressively. They have that freedom to explore different things in their lives. I think everybody is on a different page when it comes to the evolution of like where they fall in terms of partnership and relationship and sex and stuff. When you get into partnership, you bring in all those pieces together. You may fall on a certain area of your of evolution where you're like, yeah, that just doesn't work for me and my partner, but that actually might be needed in some certain relationships. You just never know. But I try to keep an open mind because the world is changing. But I think the fundamental point of like polygamous relationships is to really express yourself freely. But that's not always the case. Everybody has their own motives.
I'm gonna
Oh,
get
you
there.
about to leave? You about to leave and get all?
Yeah,
You come
yeah.
back.
You know, we're gonna chat it up. We're gonna chat it up as we do. I'm glad I can spend like almost an hour with y'all. And I need the lessons. And Charles, you said some things that I needed to hear. And then Dr. Ford, you said some things that I've been saying out loud but needed to hear as well, just about entrepreneurship and I really
Stay
appreciate
encouraged.
y'all. Hmm?
Stay encouraged.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure, for sure. And I'm gonna be sure I keep y'all posted about my new man. He's gonna be a thug and he's going to be a gentleman, and we are going to be the best of communicators. Watch. Wow.
A thug, a thug, a gentleman, and the best communicator. I
I'm
know
telling
that's
you, if your
right.
status ain't hood. Okay, I'm good. All right,
It was a
y'all.
pleasure seeing you. Well,
All righty. All right, Charles.
take care.
All right. Well,
Yeah, I think when we talk about relationships, it's a very in-depth conversation. That I really do think we should have some questions related to it um, on some of our future discussions.
I do too.
It's a lot that goes into it.
Right. And see, I think the thing is like from when I was growing up, when I was much younger, like you guys. I'm just gonna tell you, you know, monogamy was monogamy, but I was all about having fun. And for me, the one thing I guess it kind of sounds like it was a selfish notion is because it was like I'm having fun for me. So if I'm not committed, then you know God knows everything else. So now I understand. Well, when I actually got into that point where where it was time for marriage and well the commitment, then coming to the marriage and so forth. What was there was you need to get your mind focused because if this is what you're going to do, then this is how you should do it. And so everything that transpired or took place after that, it took place. But what took place was not the real, because the real was the thing that happened after that because you're still in that growing phase. And so you've got to be able to grow with somebody where you're living with them and you got to learn their habits. The habits might not be good, especially in the beginning, because some people people do things different in their preparations. And so it's like you can you know, your partner might hop up out the bed and he ain't brushing teeth, washing face, but he's scratching his ass and he walking all around and he just showing everything. Okay. So then it's like you jump up, you go, you wash your face, brush your teeth, you may take a shower in the morning, you do everything you do because you want to beautify and everything, and he ain't doing that, and then you thinking like, oh no, this is not good. It's
Yeah.
not something that you like. You know what I'm saying? But see, this is where you got to learn that this is him. So when you see that's him, and if you really care about him, you still love him, and he's doing everything else that you want him to do you really break up with him because of that?
I mean, some people would be listening out in the crowd and they'll say, hell yeah, I would break up with him because he did that. But this is the thing that I would say, gets me back to that self-worth thing. It's like, I find a lot of people criticize themselves, so they always are criticizing others. And so, like, even in their partnership, it's like, are you finding yourself criticizing your partner? Now granted, I think healthy, healthy, healthy suggestions to make sure that both of you guys can cohabitate very well is needed. But like criticizing a person and making them feel bad about doing something, it's not always like nothing good is going to come out of that. People think that that's the best way because they grew up learning those behaviors, but no, you have to make loving suggestions to your partner and say, hey, I noticed that you got out of the bed and you just jumped up, but take a little bit more time, consider taking more time for yourself. Like we take for granted those moments where we like brushing your teeth and just taking a nice hot shower, being with yourself, sitting
Right.
with yourself before we start our day, zen, taking a moment to zen and like just hey, take a little bit of extra time to care for yourself. I think this is a healthy suggestion versus being like, yo, trifling ass, get the fuck, get out of my house. So I mean, partnership is an art. Partnership is an art. I would say it's an art.
It is, and I just think what I want what I want to work towards is actually setting um a trend for people that look like us, people that are in our community, and that is to understand our marriage is not like theirs. And you see, once you learn that standard and you actually see somebody that looks like you that are doing their thing, and again, nothing's perfect, but you know one thing, it is not like that man and woman or these folks that you see on your street that you run across or whatever have you, because the drama they got is not what you got here. And so you don't have to create that kind of drama in your relationship to look like that, because you know that's not what you want. But see, I know that again, that's a ways down the road that I'm sure that young people like yourself will be able to take that, transcend it, and make it work. Because you do not, and I'll say this because even in looking at my mother and father, ain't no way in hell that I want to have a relationship like theirs. Love them to death, but what they did, that wasn't me. And so it was good to just have that there. But if I'm not living my life like that, why would I want my marriage to be like that?
Yeah, I
So
think the biggest thing is your parents teach you lessons, right? It's like
it,
teach you how you may not want your relationship to be, or and
mhm,
people, judge their relationships. Like even with my mom and my dad, it was definitely not um, the healthiest relationship, very abusive. But it's like, through that lesson, it taught me of like what I do not want to bring into my relationships, because when you do engage in those behaviors, you know what the outcome is going to be because you've already seen it with your parents or seen it with some example in your life. So
mhm,
paying attention to like what the hell is happening in your life is very important because everything nothing happens for a reason, and
mhm.
being aware of like your experiences is super helpful because it gives you insight, it gives you guidance.
Right, it does. And so and it's like as I chat and laugh with my parents today, I chat and laugh with them because it's like, basically we grew up together for one thing, because my mom is 15 years older than me and my dad's 19 years older than me. So we're in the same age range. And so, like I say, I laugh and joke with them a lot because I even tell them a lot of times. I'm like, I tell my mom, I say, "Oh, you run around here with that little hot box. You done had this baby, and you think you grown, knowing you couldn't take care of no baby. Y'all don't know the first thing about being parents. If my grandmother don't step in, y'all probably just all over the place. You know what I'm saying? That's not the same thing as today, because the parents today, which are about my age or maybe a little bit younger, they're now grandparents. So now that came a whole lot quicker than what was expected, but that was the trend. And so as it's changing and as it's still changing, as that riptide is rolling, again, as we say, you better be ready, because when that riptide gets to you and it hits you, you don't know what that effect is going to be. But if you're not ready, then you're just going to be in the world, not a part of it. You're just in the world. And if you're just in the world, you don't have a clue as to what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. And so then that's how you become the worst of the statistics.
Mm,
See,
wow.
that's an ugly thing, ain't it?
It is. It is. But you know, it takes platforms like this to help educate people, being intentional about letting them know what life can be. Because some people, unfortunately, are just in experiencing life the best way that they think it is, um, subjecting themselves to abusive relationships because they have this perception of this is what love is supposed to look like, and
Mhm.
it's very unfortunate, you know. But um, it really takes platforms like this to be intentional about conversations and giving information out that's accurate and helping people heal. Um, so, yeah, I agree. You know, when it comes to partnership, people have to just really start with from within. You know, that old cliche, you can't love nobody else if you don't love yourself, or you can't love yourself. If you don't love yourself, you can't love nobody else. Like that shit is so real, and you have to really start loving yourself to really show up and be radically accepting of another person because you're radically accepting of yourself.
Yep.
So, you know, I'll end with that because I'm going to jump off here too, but I do want to say, you know, I appreciate being on the platform. I love the conversations. Super excited about our book. It's going to teach us about love, I'm sure. Have you
Oh
read the book before?
no, actually, no. I actually, I when I came across this book, so I'll just be honest. I wanted to read his books, but it just did not grasp me that much. But it
Mm,
just stuck in my craw because I remember, when I first looked at his books, like the other book that was picked by somebody, The Gay Agenda. Now, I think, just hear me out on this one, and I know you got to go because I got to go too. But I'm just going to tell you that this book and that book, The Gay Agenda, they've got some messages, because I
mm,
know that this book is probably going to have a message that is probably going to transcend as to what we're talking about, relationships, but
yes.
what these relationships actually are about. The Gay Agenda is teaching the whole gambit.
Mm,
It's teaching the whole gambit, but it's not coming from our perspective, but somebody else's perspective. But we are learning how to transcend that and make it ours.
hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And disseminate that to all the viewers who are watching, and hopefully they can apply it into their lives. I'm super excited about it. I actually liked the last book. I know Amen was kind of like over it, but I actually liked it. I thought it was very interesting. I thought the dynamics of each person's relationship resonated a lot with a lot of different happenings in my life. So, if no one has read Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin, you definitely should pick it up and read it because it was interesting to see the different dynamics, and then also the interesting part is just to see how a person's life um, ends up, or the trajectory of someone's life who doesn't engage or enacts in healing, healing themselves.
Right.
Yeah. So super excited. Thank you so much. Can't
No,
thank you enough.
you. And next, is Monette okay?
Yeah, she good. She good. I think she was busy tonight with cooking dinner or something for her kids. But I will definitely share and make sure you gets the word for sure. Because I don't know, she's on the email thread, I believe. So
She
she should be
is.
getting the updates. But yeah, she's good overall.
Okay.
I'll
Well,
be checking in on my sister, making sure she all right.
because I sure hope we see her Sunday. Because I think this book, because I see she's very insightful, and so
Absolutely.
I'm sure that she would definitely get into this book.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. I agree.
So I will see you on Sunday, and we've got to do half that book. And so I'll see you on Sunday, and you have a great week, and finish out your great weekend. And thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming on tonight.
Of course, of course. Thank you for having me. If anyone wants to join on the healing circle, please reach out, or join the healing circle. It's the Soul Wellness Healing Circle. It's on Facebook. You can just type it in and be a part of the group, or sign up for the event. It's happening on Tuesday at 6 p.m. We're just helping heal each other and having a safe space so we can explore that, give you the tools to help incorporate in your life to help you feel good about yourself in 2024 so you can align yourself with your purpose. So thank you so much, Charles, for having this platform. Super excited to start the conversation about the book next week. And you enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
Well, I thank you so very kindly because I'm sure about to go ahead and eat this barbecue chicken.
That sounds great. All right, take care.